What's up, guys? Santana's Barbershop here. I'm going to touch on something right here. So, it's two things about being a barber. So, some people cut hair, some people are a barber. There's a big difference, okay? When you cut hair, you got a clipper, maybe a pair of shears. Most of you guys who aren't a barber call them scissors. Barbers call them shears. Anybody can cut hair. I mean, my 15-year-old daughter can cut hair, okay? You go buy a clipper, you go buy a pair of, if you're not a barber, you call them scissors. Walmart, anywhere. And what clipper you have don't make you a better barber. So we'll get to the bottom of that right there. Yeah, I can do a fade with a Walmart clipper. Bring one and I'll give you a fade. Trust me. When you cut hair, you just cut the hair, run the clipper on the head, and maybe get an edger and try to give him some kind of a clean lineup. You're just cutting hair. Now, when you're a barber, it comes down to how clean your cut is, your lines are, and how clean you leave the customer when they leave. I learned how to be a barber working in my first barber shop. I went into the shop as a person who cuts hair. And I realized that there are things barbershops do that are different than someone who just cuts hair. When you cut hair, you cut somebody's hair, they got hair all over them, they're all a little dirty, and you just kind of wipe the hair off and send them on their way. You know, the lines aren't really crisp. You cut their hair. Barber, you go in, you have a sterile, clean environment, sterile, clean clippers, sterile everything. In between your cuts, you sterilize, everything's sterile. So merging from cutting hair to being a barber comes to a lot your skills of how you cut, but sterilization and the olfactory, which is smells in your nose, which you get in a barbershop. So one of the things that barbershops do, most barbershops should do, when you get done with your cut, they clean you with talc powder. It's a smell you only get in a barbershop. Now, you could buy talc powder and do it in your house, don't get me wrong. But that smell, when you're done with that cut, has that barbershop smell. And when you're cutting them, you keep them clean. And your skills progress when you're in a barbershop because you're cutting more quantity of hair. Now, when I cut someone, cut them, clean them, do the best fade you can, get all the weight lines out. You shouldn't have no lines in your hair, like just, it's called weight, dark spots in your fade and stuff. Some people do have some dark spots in their fade because they have dents in their head. You can't get those out. It's just a shadow that's casted on by the light, and people will think you left a line in their head or a dark spot. It usually just dents in their head. Some people they don't have flat heads. And then when you get them all cleaned up with your sterile clippers, you put that nice talc powder smell on them. They got that barbershop smell. They're in a nice sterile seat. They're sitting comfortable in your chair. And when they leave, they feel a little more fresh. They're getting a haircut from someone that cuts hair. And don't get me wrong, some of the best barbers are the unlicensed guys cutting in their garages. That's where I started. Some of the best barbers. So I'm not saying the guys cutting unlicensed guys in their houses are not good barbers. I'm not saying that. I started cutting in a house, cutting in a chair in my kitchen. You know, I've been cutting since I was 12. I started off cutting my brother's hairs. But when you come to a barber shop, you have the experience, you have the community, you have the feeling of being in a place where gentlemen gather to get their hair groomed. Okay? And there's little extras, you know, you got the smells, you got the aftershave, you got the creams, you got all that stuff. Now, you can have this stuff in your house, don't get me wrong. But a barbershop, a real barbershop should have the correct stuff, should have the correct cream, should be able to do straight razor shaves, all that kind of stuff. So when you come to a barber shop, it's the experience, it's the olfactory, the senses, the smells you get. Okay, your barber shop should not stink. Okay, it should always smell good, and the person should leave clean and have this good smell on them, and they should have a feeling of a sterile, clean cut. Now you could spray them down with alcohol. I usually don't do that because it burns. Some people request it, but it comes down to more the sterilization, and it comes down to the sense of detail. You go to a barbershop. Now, my personal opinion: real men go to barbershops. If you go to a salon to get a cut, you're gonna get a salon cut. You'll be able to tell your fade, a salon fade, a barbershop fade. If you're in a good barbershop, if the guy cuts good. Now, there are some salons, there are some people in there who probably can do a good fade. I'm not saying there aren't. There are. There are probably some girls out there who could probably, I don't mean to curse, there are probably some girls who could run circles around me cutting hair. I've seen some girls online who cut amazing fades. So it's not about being a male or woman. It's about the atmosphere. And if you want an atmosphere that's a real barbershop, you come to a place like my shop, Santana's Barbershop. You get all the perks of being in a barbershop. Okay? So for those of you who don't know the difference between somebody who says they cut hair and someone who goes to a barbershop, this should have answered it for you. And the difference of going to a salon and going to a gentleman's barbershop. Barbershop, place where gentlemen congregate to get their hair taken care of. So I hope this cleared up for you guys understanding about someone that cuts hair versus a barber, and someone that goes to a salon versus going to a barbershop, versus getting your hair cut in someone's kitchen, sitting on a stool with bad lighting, versus coming to a barbershop in a comfortable adjustable barber chair with all the right sterilization and the proper way to perfectly make a men's haircut look good. When you walk out of there feeling like a clean gentleman, you just got yourself a barbershop cut. Like I said again, does not mean I'm better than the guy that's cutting in his house. Nope. I started that way. Does not mean I'm better than anybody else. I'm not the best. I try my best. So I hope this cleared up for you guys who go to salons, or a lot of people who just cut hair versus going to a barbershop. This is the differences. Okay? Hope that helped you out. For your next cut, stop by Santana's Barbershop in Ridgemont in Florida and come and get a nice, clean, sterile gentleman's cut with a great atmosphere. Out.